Circular motion represents obedience to God. Conclusion. The legacy of Mesopotamian astronomy represents a continuous thread of evolving knowledge and intellectual growth. It began with the Sumerians, whose foundational sexagesimal, base 60 system remains the heartbeat of modern timekeeping and geometry. This numerical legacy allowed subsequent cultures to map the heavens with unprecedented precision. The Kassites codified these observations into the Enuma, Anu, Enlil series, a massive collection of celestial omens that transformed the sky into a divine script. The transition to the Chaldean era marked the birth of mathematical astronomy. Scholars developed the zodiac to track planetary paths and mastered the metonic cycle to synchronize lunar and solar calendars. The meticulous record-keeping in the astronomical diaries led to the discovery of the Saros cycle, enabling them to predict eclipses. These observations even noted the effects of solar storms and provided the first mathematical accounts of retrograde motion. As the region fell under Persian and Greek influence, a profound cross-pollination occurred. The Magi became synonymous with celestial wisdom, while scholars like Seleucus of Seleucia boldly defended a heliocentric model more than 16 centuries before Nicholas Copernicus. Under the Sasanians, the focus shifted toward the Greek conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn as a tool for political and historical prophecy. Ultimately, this vast body of knowledge was preserved and expanded within the Islamic Golden Age. The scholars of Baghdad's House of Wisdom translated these ancient texts, refining Mesopotamian mathematics to fuel the rise of Islamic astronomy. From the ziggurats of Sumer to the observatories of the Abbasids, the Mesopotamian tradition proved that the stars were not just objects of wonder. The celestial bodies were a system of logic that defined the rhythms of human civilization. This has been Ancient Mesopotamian Astronomy and Astrology, the history of celestial observations in Mesopotamia. Written by Charles River Editors. Narrated by Steve Knupp. Copyright 2026 by Charles River Editors. Production copyright by Charles River Editors.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.
This is Audible.
Ancient Mesopotamian Astronomy and Astrology, the history of celestial observations in Mesopotamia. Written by Charles River Editors. Narrated by Steve Knupp. Introduction. When American archaeologists discovered a collection of cuneiform tablets in Iraq in the late 19th century, they were confronted with a language and a people who were at the time only scarcely known to even the most knowledgeable scholars of ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians. The exploits and achievements of other Mesopotamian peoples, such as the Assyrians and Babylonians, were already known to a large segment of the population through the Old Testament, and the nascent field of Near Eastern studies had unraveled the enigma of the Akkadian language that was widely used throughout the region in ancient times. But the discovery of the Sumerian tablets brought to light the existence of the Sumerian culture, which was the oldest of all the Mesopotamian cultures. Although the Sumerians continue to get second or even third billing compared to the Babylonians and Assyrians, perhaps because they never built an empire as great as the Assyrians, or established a city as enduring and great as Babylon. They were the people who provided the template of civilization that all later Mesopotamians built upon. The Sumerians are credited with being the first people to invent writing, libraries, cities, and schools and many would argue that they were the first people to create and do those things anywhere in the world. When Western Europe was still in the Stone Age, it was the Sumerians who invented writing and the wheel, divided time into minutes and seconds, tamed nature, and built gigantic cities. They embraced culture and the arts, and their caravans crossed the desert, opening up the first trade routes. Their myths and legends inspired various origin stories, and their memory lives on in the Old Testament. The Sumerians also provided the civilizational template for the earliest forms of astronomy. As the Sumerians gazed at the